Hey, Rising Church, welcome to another session of Groves as we kind of make our way around the United States, visiting different national parks that I had the opportunity to go and see over the summer on my sabbatical, and kind of sharing some of the stories and the insights and some kind of relevant passages that kind of maybe tie into some of the things that I got to see and witness firsthand. So today we're actually going to California, which we've been to already, but we're actually going to Northern California to a national park that I'm pretty sure most of you probably haven't heard of, or you may not even know it's a national park, but it's called Lassen Volcanic National Park. Obviously in the title right there gives you a little clue to maybe why this is a national park, but it's a volcano. We don't really have volcanoes here in the South that I'm aware of, but out west, if you kind of go up to the Northwest, you see these chains of mountains that are all volcanoes. You have Mount Shasta, you go all the way up to Mount Rainier, you have Mount Bachelor in Oregon, so you have this chain of volcanoes that are along the coast there. Kind of where if you know your volcanic activity, where the one plate goes underneath the North American plate, the Juan de Fuca plate, and it kind of rises back up as these volcanoes. And so one of those volcanoes that became a national park, because shortly after the national park system was created, this one blew its top, if you will. So it was kind of the first, major volcanic action. So it was like, hey, let's make that a national park. So it's really close to the Oregon border. Again, it's called Lassen Volcanic National Park. And there's a couple stories there that I think maybe we can talk about that I think might, be of interest to you. The first one's a little bit goofy. It's kind of tied into what we talked about this past Sunday. And so if you're already a little bit bug weary, because we talked about some of the bugs that impact sheep, and we talked about those nasal flies and kind of the nastiness of all that, and the larvae, don't want to revisit that, but we had a moment where we were camping at Lassen Volcanic, and like I shared before, I'm super mosquito prone. Kimberly, not so much. So they love to eat me alive. So I had all my stuff. So I have everything to prepare me so I'm not going to get eaten up by mosquitoes. I don't even know if there's mosquitoes there, but even if it doesn't matter, I'm going to be prepared. So I have my bug repellent. I have my insect repellent clothes on. I got my citronella candle going. So I'm like, we're good. So it's kind of like getting towards sundown. We're having a picnic dinner. So we're eating at the picnic table and we're kind of all enjoying. I wouldn't call it a feast, but I would call it, we're having dinner. And suddenly I noticed on the picnic table, like kind of in the wood, I see something squirming around. I'm like, what is that? And it's some kind of little worm-like larvae that was in there. And I'm like, oh, well, that's weird. How did it get there? And then all of a sudden I see another one just poof, like out of nowhere, just appears. And I'm like, what in the world? And then another one poof appears, because what was happening was the wind was blowing a little bit above the trees. And somehow whatever these larvae were, I don't even know what they were literally falling from the sky and landing on our picnic table. And I have a video that I took of some of them. And it was okay, there's these larvae, but then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what's in my hair? And then all of a sudden you look at your plate where your food is and you see, wait, why is my food moving? Because literally we're getting bombed by these larvae as they're kind of just raining down on our heads on our picnic. Kind of ruined our picnic a little bit and had to run for cover in that sense. But it's kind of this reminder, like we talked about on Sunday, of, the bugs of life, these irritants, these things that happen that just, it doesn't kill us, but it grosses us out. It's not as, violent as a lion or a bear, but these things kind of build up and they can aggravate and they can kind of like get us off course, or just kind of, just bug us and drive us crazy. And so life is full of those. Even if you protect yourself from one, there's always another, right? There's always another one coming around the bend, just to kind of get in your way or to bring irritation in your life. And that's why, going back to Sunday morning, we need God's Spirit. We need the oil, Him to anoint our head and our mind with His oil, with who He is, with His presence, with His Spirit, so that we can kind of have love and joy and peace and patience in the midst of the aggravation, because we have His oil kind of soothing us and protecting us some. It kind of relates to another story that happened at Lassen Volcanic. Is we're hoping to go for a hike and kind of explore the whole park, but because it was still a lot of snow on the road, they kind of have the main road closed, and so the only way to get to the other side of the park was to drive 2 hours outside of the park to get to the other side. And we're like, I don't think we're going to do that. So we decided to do another hike that we weren't planning on doing, to a place called Paradise Meadow. If you know anything about volcanoes, they're kind of explosive and destructive. And so when this thing exploded 100 years ago, kind of the road where we ended the road, as far as we could get, was a place called Devastation, this area of devastation that they ironically called Devastation Area. They got real creative there. And it's just destroyed. Everything is like destroyed by the volcano and by all the ash and by all the flow coming down from the top of the volcano. So you can kind of actually see there, here are the lines where the old growth is, because these are the trees that survived then. And then everything that's new in this devastation area is new because it was destroyed. So we get to Devastation Area. We're taking this 2-mile hike up to a place called Paradise Meadows, which is supposed to be this green, beautiful meadow, kind of at the top of the, higher up, kind of like, Table Mountain or whatever else, where it's just supposed to be beautiful up there and green and lush. So we're hiking up there, and there's also a waterfall that we're going to see there. And suddenly I'm in Capo's in front, and then there's Kimberly, and then there's me. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you before. This is a little note to husbands. Do not do what I almost did here. But Kimberly's walking in front of me. It's already by grace that she's even going on a hike with me. And so I have to be, very patient. I got to be very kind and just be grateful that she's willing to do. It's a pretty hard hike. And so it's not her favorite thing to do. She's doing it out of her love for me. And she does love waterfalls. So it's like, that's how I baited her. There's a beautiful waterfall up there. And so we're hiking, and all of a sudden she trips over a log or a piece of wood or something, gets caught between her legs and kind of shoots up and bends up. And the next thing I know, she is literally face down on the ground, like just completely laid out. And there are multiple reactions that you have as a husband. First, it's a little funny, right? So you kind of got to hold that one back. But it's also like, oh no, like, are you okay? Which is the correct response. Okay, are you okay? And she kind of rolls over, and she's kind of like got a little bit of a like laughing at herself moment, but she's also in pain because it hurt. And she just kind of lied there a few minutes. And so I finally was able to, kind of, okay, and kind of get her back to her feet. We made it up to Paradise Meadow, and that wasn't that great. But we went to the falls, which we nicknamed Paradise Falls after Kimberly's fall. But on the way back, we came to that spot, and that log, that piece of wood was there. And half jokingly, but also kind of half seriously, I'm like, I'm going to carry this piece of wood back with us to the campsite. I carried this thing. It's pretty heavy for like 1.5 miles just to throw it in the car, just so that night when we got to the campfire, she would have the honor and privilege of burning that thing to death. What are we doing here?
We are burning this stick that tried to hurt me and kill me and stop me from reaching paradise. But I will not be stopped.
Paradise Falls.
Paradise Falls. They tried to trip me up and not let me get there. So I'm going to have victory.
And what did your husband do?
I'm going to have victory. Laughed at me?
No. What'd your husband do with that stick?
What'd you try to do with the stick? Oh, you tried to toss it into a river.
No.
What?
I had to carry that thing like 1.5 miles.
That's true. That's true.
Just so you could do this. Ingrate.
I'm not angry. Burn in hell, stick. Oh my gosh. I have final victory. You will die. You'll feel the sting of death, and I will not.
It's like that was kind of the imagery. This thing that tried to trip me up, that tried to take me down, that tried to get me out of the race, you're going down. It kind of reminds me of Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. You've heard this before. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles our feet, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, he scorned its shame, and he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. I know we've talked about this passage before, but I just love this idea because it says, hey, throw off all these sins and these things that are kind of entangling you and tripping you up and causing you issues. Yeah, maybe they got you. Maybe they tripped you up. Maybe they caused you to fall flat on your face. Get back up and take that stick and throw it in the fire, right? Take these things that so easily entangle us or trap us or thwart us or keep us from getting to where we're trying to go, and keep going. Keep running the race with perseverance. Don't let it stop you, Because I think so often in life, we let the little irritants, the bugs, the whatever, just kind of stop us in our tracks. We let the things that trip us up and kind of get in our way, or these things that hurt us, or even like we talked about on Sunday morning, like the headbutts that often happen between the sheep. You know what I mean? It's like we let these things kind of stop us and just say, I'm not going to go any further. And I think those times we have to say, nope, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to brush off the dirt off my clothes, and I'm not going to let this thing stop me from getting to where I want to go. And I'm going to keep persevering, and I'm going to finish the race that God has for me, and I'm going to get there. I'm not going to let this thing, I'm going to keep my eyes fixed on Jesus, not on all this mess, not on the bugs, not on the stick that tripped me up. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to keep going. And I hope that's an encouragement to you. And if necessary, carry that stick that tripped you and burn it in the fire, saying, you will not have victory over me. You will not defeat me. You will not stop me. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to finish. And in that sense, I'm going to make it to Paradise Meadow. I'm going to make it to the top. I'm going to get through the darkness, through the dark valley. I'm going to get through the things trying to trip me up, and I'm going to get to my destination. So you're going to talk a bit more about that and what that actually looks like in real life. Maybe you guys can have some thoughts from your own life to encourage each other. But I just want you to have that idea in your heart and your mind. Like, even when there's devastation, even when all these irritants and everything else in life, and they get the best of you, get up and keep going. Persevere. You'll make it. You can do it. Don't give up. So hopefully that's a word of encouragement for you for this week. Thanks.